And here we are, guys. The map is, of course, ESV Cloud Kingdom, and in the upper right part of it, in the blue, from the Team Prime, it is AnnYeong. And down in the lower left part of the map, in the orange, from the Team Acer, defeating Marine King last match with a pretty sick all-in, it is none other than Acer.Bly.
That's right. So now, Bly, of course, is tasked with still going through some very great members. AnnYeong is kind of a regular standby of the Team League lineup for Prime. We've seen him come in on a number of occasions, and we'll see if his ZVZ is up to snuff.
Yep. Pretty much.
Interesting map choice out of AnnYeong as well. I don't know if he's looking to take this map away from someone, but it makes a kind of cool ZVZs because the tug of wars that are kind of played at the beginning of games, especially if they decide to go hatch first and then go into that defensive Baneling stage, are usually pretty dynamic, and it leads itself to pretty long ZVZs. You know, whenever you get past that stage.
Well, yeah, you don't want, you mentioned taking the map away from someone else, and keep in mind that Elfie is definitely going to be one of the players that Prime is most worried about, and the last thing they want to have is a situation where they give Elfie a match on this map, right?
That's right.
It's just such a good Protoss map that it's not surprising at all that they would take it and use it in a mirror match situation like this. Fairly normal. I'm actually a little bit surprised we're not seeing our players go hatch first. Generally, that is what we see on this map, but the reason why we're not seeing that this game is because neither of these players have probably played each other before. They don't really have that trust, you know. They don't really feel like they know what the other one's going to do. So it's much, much better in this case to play safe, go for the gas in the pool a little bit earlier as well.
Well, it was a 14 gas, 13 pool for Bly, so interesting build. It'll have speedlings very early on. AnnYeong, on the other hand, decided to go 15 pool, 15 hatch. So a little bit market differences between these guys. Speed obviously going to come eons later for AnnYeong.
Yeah, and that actually could be something that Bly could really decide to take advantage of. I mean, there are situations where you can just straight up kill someone with speedlings if they don't have Zergling speed and their Baneling nest is a little bit late, which in this case it will be quite late for AnnYeong in this case. And if people were wondering, I guess AnnYeong is the Korean word for sort of like shorthand for like hi. It's kind of like hey, is AnnYeong. And I believe it directly translates to the word peace.
Oh, nice.
So,
and there's a couple of different spellings. I've never really settled on the correct one. Whenever the rosters get submitted to us by Jar, their manager, it always comes across as AnnYeong, but then he's listed on some websites as YEONG.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to Romanize Korean just because there are sounds in the Korean language that aren't in English,
right?
And vice versa. So yeah, it's really tough. There is some standard out there, I guess, but nobody really sticks to it usually. I wonder though if it's typed like that. I wonder if that's actually part of his name. I actually don't know his Korean name, so
that's
that
very
could
true.
Be part
actually.
of it as well.
Yeah.
Couple of Zerglings coming in right now for AnnYeong. He's going to be able to do a little bit of scouting. Bly though, managing to catch those Zerglings, and AnnYeong's still getting a good scout.
Yeah, he does get a good scout, but of course the biggest scout was obviously seeing the time on the hatchery whenever he made his way through. So he knew it was quite late, and we'll see how he wants to prepare. He actually put down 10 more lings right away, 14 more. So he saw that early, or I'm sorry, that very late hatchery, and knew that he could be getting some pressure very soon from speedlings.
Right. Yep. And those speedlings are going to be putting on some pressure right now from Bly. Baneling nest is already on the way, but it's not going to get out anytime soon. Oh, there are enough Zerglings out, though, for AnnYeong to defend that.
Yeah, that's right. So now, Bly, what is he going to do? He's only got 6 lings out on the field. Looks like he is up by 1 worker as a result and has quite a few more coming on the way. So, you know, but that earlier speed isn't really going to pay any dividends in terms of getting any damage done.
Yep. And let's see. So let's just talk a little bit about ZVZ as well. Lately, we've seen a lot of trending towards Mutalisks. Players have loved to go Muta in ZVZ. We even had a crazy match the other day, whereas Mutaling versus Mutaling, which was a lot of fun, but not terribly common. But players have been loving to go Mutalisks just because they've been kind of figuring out how to handle infestors, really. That's kind of the big reason. Before, you know, someone would be like, why would you go Mutas? You can just get fungled and then your whole build is done, you know, then you're dead. But players have gotten very, very good about handling infestors. They've been able to learn how to send in little groups of speedlings to snipe off at infestors, you know, breaking off 1 or 2 mutas to kind of focus down the infestors, make them waste fungals on only 1 or 2 mutas. So there are ways you can kind of deal with it. Oh, wow. A lot of Banelings getting taken out. at kind of a bad time for Bly. Whoops, didn't want to lose those.
The first one was all right. He took out 4 lings with the first Baneling, and then the second one only took out 2 lings. So a little bit interesting there. He is trying to make a defensive Spinecrawler. Now the Banelings are coming through. Pretty good control out of AnnYeong, going ahead and backing those up. And unfortunately, the Queen not going to be able to deal with this in time. And Bly is going to lose a few workers there. So pretty good economic damage done. Luckily for Bly, 5 of those were critically injured, but of course not killed.
Yeah. And no real follow-up from AnnYeong at all, just kind of trying to be a little bit annoying early on in the game. Doesn't really hurt him to lose a couple Zerglings, or not Zerglings, a couple Banelings like that. How many workers did he kill, out of curiosity?
Let's see, 6.
About 6, okay, so that's not so bad.
That's pretty good.
For 2 Banelings, well, more like for 4 Banelings, that's maybe not the most efficient, but it's not the worst thing in the world either. Yeah, and there's a Spire for Bly. Yeah, Bly, I remember this now. I used to see a lot of his games back when I casted, I think it was called the Black Dragon League a long time ago. This is like late 2010.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a European league, and Bly would love going mutas in ZVZ, so it looks like he is still up to his old tricks.
And, yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good tell, though, by the way, that he took that second gas early on and went right up to layer tech. So now sitting on 4 gas, and he will have enough for about 5 or 6 mutas by the time that Spire finally does finish. So.
Yeah, well, you need 5 to be able to one-shot workers, so that's kind of the minimum you need to go with if you're going to be going Mutalisks. But what we've seen a lot of Zerg players do lately is produce maybe like 8 to 10 Mutalisks and then switch over to Roach, Infestor, things like that. Follow it up with, a third base like we're seeing there. So we may not see Bly dedicate himself 100% to Mutalisks. The amount of spine crawlers he's making is kind of making me think he wants to do that, but we could see him throw down some other tech later on. You know, we'll have to see how dedicated he is to this Mutalisk play.
Overseer gets exploded over AnnYeong's base, and he himself did finish up that Roach Hornet, is going over to an Infestation Pit, which is actually sitting behind his natural. We'll see if his opponent got a look at that, and he did not. So knows that there's some tech coming out, of course, as he did spot layer tech and 4 gas that were being mined, but did not actually see the Infestation Pit.
Yep. He will see this third base, however. Or actually, Bly will see the third base, Yeah, AnnYeong will see it.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on at ZVZ.
And he tried to, AnnYeong tried to take a third base himself, but the Zergling was able to deny it. That's why the Extractor's coming up, because he wanted to save the drone there, in case you're unaware. And looks like he will be able to cancel that and put down that hatchery now.
Yep, he's safe, but is he going to be safe from the mutas? That's kind of the big question right now. Where are those Mutalisks, by the way?
Here they are. There's a couple of them. There are 9 out on the field.
Interesting. All right. And, you know, with the Infestation Pit on the way, it's going to be a little bit of time before the Infestors are going to be useful in this case. So we do see some Spore Crawlers going down for AnnYeong. And he should still be in a good spot to defend this. Yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of queens there at the choke. May need to cancel this, though. We'll have to see how fast he wants to get there with his queens.
He's going to have to, though, because the Zerglings alone would be enough. Kills it outright.
Wow. All right,
so that's a pretty big loss there now for AnnYeong. Of course, he's going for a little more gas-intensive units with all of those Infestors that are coming up, but they still require 100 minerals apiece. So,
look at this, and only 1 queen there. No Spore Crawler there. It does just finish. Bly, though, and Bly being a little bit indecisive here, deciding to go after the drones, kind of bouncing to that Spore Crawler. Does actually lose a muta. Don't know if that was worth it. Oh, he gets bungled.
3 of them have gone down now. Loses 3 mutas. Of course, he did get the base kill and some drones afterwards, but it would have been a lot more worth it if he'd just taken the base kill, killed about 2 or 3 drones, and bumped out of there without losing any of those mutas.
Yeah, I really don't know if that was terribly worth it. We'll have to kind of wait and see. With mutas, you really need to stay ahead and do damage with it. He needs to lock down that third base and then be prepared when AnnYeong.Prime comes in with Infestor Roach a little bit later here.
That's right.
Oh, he needs to be so careful. Oh, he's going after the Infestors.
Wow, that is very bold. Wow. He does manage to pick off 1 and forced all the energy out of the rest of them, but lost another 2 mutas in doing so. So not an awful trade, but not the world's best one either. And AnnYeong does lock in a couple of those mutas, managed to get himself 2-3 more kills.
Wow.
Just for that 1 Infestor.
Yeah, the muta play just not working out terribly well for Bly right now. He is switching over to what appears to be burrowed Roach play. Yeah, 16 Roaches on the way right now. The one good thing about the mutas is that he can kind of shut down this third base for a little bit longer. As you can see, AnnYeong not able to use that at all just yet. The problem, though, is that he's going to be behind in upgrades. He's going to be behind possibly in Roach numbers as well. But he is doing a good job of keeping AnnYeong on his side of the map.
Yeah, and just kind of forcing these Roaches, well, to be annoyed more than anything else. He may be able to pick off 1 or 2, but still zones them out in the middle of the map.
Yep. All right, well, Bly trying to kind of salvage things a little bit. We do see, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of Zerg players go for just a smaller amount of mutas and then switch out of it. But if you're planning on something like that, you're going to get the tech started right away. You're going to get your Infestation Pit and your Roach Warren while you're making the Mutalisks usually. So the fact that Bly didn't do that kind of tells us that he really wanted this to be a little bit more successful than it was. We'll have to see, though. He still does have a supply lead because of that third base getting up quite a bit sooner. So he's still in a pretty good spot in this game, though, even though he did have to kind of awkwardly change tech a little bit. Shouldn't really need to worry too much.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Okay.
Why do changelings, when they're put down from a Zerg player, not get the speed boost that they themselves researched? Should it not apply to their own changelings as well?
No, because they're only changing their appearance and not their actual physical attributes.
But they do move at the speed of Zerglings then. So
I thought you were implying that they didn't.
No. But I mean, with the they don't get the speed bonus.
Roaches.
Though, so yeah, Roaches are trying to make their way through for Bly right now. He is sitting on +1 upgrades to his opponent's +2 weapons, so a little bit of an upgrade disparity there. But of course, the sheer number of units for Bly is just kind of forcing his way through. The Infestors were able to lock down a couple of units. Thankfully, the Mutas really haven't taken out any of those, but the Roaches are running rampant through the main.
Yep, and if he focuses down these units fast enough, he can maybe kill a couple production buildings, and that would be pretty nice. More Roaches streaming into the main. This is looking a little bit awkward for AnnYeong right now.
Yeah.
Decided to add on Hydras at kind of an awkward time, and because of that, this isn't working quite as well, although Bly, I don't know how much damage he's really actually doing here. It's a little bit debatable, but the supply would certainly seem to indicate that things are going well.
Yeah, he's killed a bunch of workers. We just saw there 31 workers have gone down, but he's only at a 10-worker advantage at the moment. So, unfortunately, you know, AnnYeong not going to be 100% crippled by this, although he does have much smaller of a standing army than his opponent does.
Well, AnnYeong, you know, put a lot more into workers and upgrades and things like that because he planned on taking that third, whereas Bly just took the third and then just kind of reacted to what he saw, right? Well, we'll have to see how much damage these Roaches can do, but it looks like they can get behind the mineral line and kill drones, or they can just kill the hatchery.
That's right, going right after the hatchery, and it is going to fall. Nothing that AnnYeong can do about it, and at the same time, Bly went up to a 4th base of his own, now utilizing the production from that to produce Infestors in addition. So, Bly is actually in a really good spot. Big counterattack coming out of AnnYeong, though, and he's pulling all of his drones as well.
He's all in, yeah. I mean, this is going to be about it. He got far enough behind in that last engagement that he realizes he needs to win right now, or he's going to be out of this game. Bly, though, not phased. He's going to go into the main, kill some more tech possibly, but he needs to worry about this army, man.
Yes, he does. And this hatchery is still sitting up with 128 supply. Oh,
nice concave.
And AnnYeong is going to get most of these forces cleaned up right away. The Infestors are popping out from behind. Well, they got off one fungal. Didn't really do a ton of damage there. I actually don't think that was the active one as well. The one that got killed wasn't able to use its energy. Nevertheless, though, yeah, AnnYeong's going to lose everything over the front, and Bly is going to be able to take this game. Go, drones, go!
It certainly looks that way. I mean, there's still Roaches doing damage in AnnYeong.Prime's base right now. He does manage to barely push back the army, but look at this, losing so much at home. The last of his drones going down, and, you know, even if AnnYeong kills the 3rd base, it's not going to set Bly back far enough to give AnnYeong the edge he needs to win this game.
That's right. So now it's going to be 2 bases to just 1 at the moment when this one eventually does get cleaned up. And really, oh, look at this.
Yeah,
great defensive position there. Tons of spines. GG. There's a GG. And Bly has taken 2 games in a row from Prime.
Oh, Bly is a fearsome Zerg player, man. I mean, it's I'm not going to say it's not surprising.